Alright, let's break down table tennis footwork. We'll cover common mistakes and how to fix them. Your step-around footwork after the serve must be purposeful. If you serve with heavy spin, do not step around. You'll get jammed, and it's an awkward position. Serve short or half-long with a low trajectory and minimal spin. Don't use that sidespin topspin serve that pops up. If your opponent attacks deep to your forehand, you'll be too slow. Therefore, you must serve a deceptive, low-spin sidespin ball, not pure sidespin, to set up your third ball attack. When I serve with heavy spin, I use a square stance to better prepare for a backhand loop. But for a low-spin serve, after recovering, I adopt a side-on stance to prepare for a step-around, though it's too quick for the opponent to notice. You must have this awareness yourself. For instance, after a heavy spin serve, if I plan to use my backhand, I'll use a square stance, even with my right foot slightly forward, to make the backhand loop easier. If I serve a low-spin ball, I'll get into a side-on stance, ready to step around and attack. You must have this awareness. You can't use the same recovery stance for every serve. Amateur players often serve with heavy spin, only to get caught by their own spin and jammed when they try to step around. Your serve must set up your attack, don't just step around blindly because you think you're supposed to. Second point, after recovering, your right foot must clear the way for the step around. Many players fail to move their right foot out. You must clear that space to create an opportunity for a power loop. After serving and recovering, a simple guide is to align your core with the corner of the table. This opens up your body, then you can make minor adjustments. This gives you a base position from which you can adjust your distance. You can't have your core facing forward, that means you haven't properly opened up your body. Many players use walking steps for their footwork. For a step around, your movement must be explosive. The footwork should be bouncy and spring-like, not a simple walk. You need to move out of the way and then move into the ball. Third, when you step around, don't get too close to the table, or you'll be jammed on long balls. When moving in any direction, always maintain about an arm's length distance from the table. This will give you enough time to react. Don't step around on topspin balls, but it's perfectly fine for mid-high backspin balls. This step around is most effective when you serve short to the corner, they push it back, and you execute a powerful attack. Your opponent will have no time to react. If they flick, recover and block drive them down the line. If they push, hold your step around stance and prepare to attack. And don't worry about a wide-angle return to your forehand, because it's a high-risk shot for them and prone to error. The angle they can play is very small, so a small crossover step is all you need to cover it. They can mostly only return to this half of the table, and instinctually, they'll aim for your backhand because the diagonal is longer. If they attack, just punch block it with your backhand. If they return a semi-high ball, step around and smash it. Don't use full power, focus on getting it on the table. This is an excellent tactic that will be very difficult for them to counter. Poor third ball execution happens when your serve and follow-up shot don't match. Either your serve is too spinny to create an attack opportunity, or it's not spinny enough and you have a good forehand but no chance to use it. Or, your serve is good, but your fundamentals are weak, so you can't execute the loop. The second type of footwork is for balls to the middle, which is a common problem for amateur players. The biggest problem with middle balls is hesitating between forehand and backhand. Never hesitate. Be decisive and use your stronger stroke. If your forehand is better, use it. If your backhand is better, use that. Don't switch back and forth. Let's focus on backspin balls, because against topspin, the pace is fast, so you can just use your backhand. Here's a classic tactic for you. Whenever the opponent gives me a middle ball, I attack their forehand. After I attack your forehand, you're most likely to return cross-court, which allows me to completely cut off your angle. Handling backspin is a challenge for amateurs. If your forehand loop is better, use it more. If your backhand loop is better, use that. Here's a piece of advice on service return. When returning a left side spin serve to your middle, the ball will curve into your body, making a forehand return very awkward. The ball breaks into your body. While you might be able to loop it by playing it early on the rise, if you wait until the top of the bounce, you'll be too cramped to execute a proper shot. So, to use your forehand against this serve, you must step around very wide to create enough space to hit the ball. You need to get into a full step around position. Therefore, for a left side spin serve, when you can use either stroke, I recommend using your backhand loop. It's much easier, and I typically aim for their forehand. A right side spin serve, on the other hand, will move away from you. The reason you misread right side spin is that the ball looks close, but by the time you swing, it has already curved away. Your right foot must step in to intercept it. For a half-long or short right side spin serve, your right foot must step forward. For a long serve, you need to move laterally. You cannot stand still and just reach with your arm, you will miss the ball. For a long right side spin, move parallel to the table. For shorter ones, move forward. Even a small step ensures your body is in the correct position. You can also use your backhand for this shot. But if you use your backhand, you need a very large crossover step to get into position. Without that big step, especially with the curve, you have no chance. If I commit to a full crossover step, I can execute the backhand loop. However, I would never choose a backhand here, because after that shot, I'm out of position for the next ball. So, as a rule of thumb, for left side spin to the middle, use your backhand. For right side spin, use your forehand. This is simpler and less demanding on your footwork and balance, making the shot more consistent. In table tennis, you must increase the difficulty in practice so that you're comfortable in a match. If you only practice from a central position, when an opponent pushes wide in a match, the ball will feel impossibly far away. But if you train with wide movements, then in a match, their push will be well within your attack range with just a small adjustment step. You can't afford to be lazy with your feet in practice. You must push to expand your movement range, that's the only way you'll truly train your technique. Finally, let's cover the large step to the forehand side, another common challenge for amateurs. For example, I can get there in one step, whereas you take 2 steps. 1, 2. Your right and left foot are moving at the same time, which means you're hitting the ball with inefficient, simultaneous movement. My sequence is, step first, then push off the ground to generate power. I use one less step than you, which is why you are slower. The correct sequence is, after recovering from the serve, take a large step with your right foot, followed by your left. The right foot initiates the movement, then you generate power. Right foot moves first, then power. It's not just about taking a big step, nor is it about keeping your weight on the left leg. You need to get into a lunge stance.